We got to fix the window capture, okay? It's going to take me a second since I'm almost losing on time. Just bear with me here. Why does it look so big? We get these drop frames, and they just snuck up on me there. Just totally snuck up on me. No. Damn, dude. He's not letting me. He's not letting me have any time to think here. It is pretty much par for the course. I don't know why I went to h4. Maybe f4 would have been interesting. Oh my god. World Loser is not playing for time. It's got me pretty much down to 21 seconds. I have no time to even edit the stream. I mean, it's really annoying. It doesn't give me time to even move. I'd like to fix the stream, but I can't. Whoa, sorry guys, I made me really big. I know that probably scared the living hell out of you guys. I'm trying to fix the stream and everything at the same time. Where does he come up with these moves? Are you kidding me? How? Alright, dude, whatever. That's what he gets for trying to blitz me. Alright. Yeah, you were winning there, World Loser. You actually played brilliantly, but knight a4 wins the exchange. I was struggling trying to fix the stream, though. Yeah, it seems okay. Face is not scary. It is when you're surprised and it's that big, I think. I don't know. I accidentally closed my video capture window there and had to create a new one. I didn't think it was going to pop up so big there. World Loser, man, I mean, you played just why so fast. Knight a4 just wins the exchange. This was a bad move, though. I was in time pressure. It's a really good game up to this point, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I thought it was really balanced, even though I'm down a pawn. But here when you did this, I just kind of like moved real fast because I was about to flag, but it's not a good move. I didn't want to do knight d4. You're threatening knight c5. But I also didn't, you know, I didn't think of d4 because I wanted to keep that diagonal open. So according to the engine there, I blundered, of course, with knight d4. Here I think I'm worse now. But knight c5, apparently I'm not lost because I have knight takes d6, but I never would have found that. He has knight a4. He was just moving too fast. I'm curious if this opening has ever been played. I mean, I'd be surprised if it hasn't. e5 is a novelty here. It's like the engine's #1 choice. That is weird. Nobody's ever played e5. I mean, I'm sure somebody's played it, just not a master. The lichess opening explorer just looks at quote-unquote master games. I'm sure some amateurs have played e5. It's an extremely logical move. And then I played f4, which is really cool. I think that it's definitely playable. All right, Anonymous Network, 2199. Thank you for the reassurance. I'm not that scary. All right. We're going to play Anonymous Network. Unusual opening stream means that we play stuff that we wouldn't normally play. That means no boring knight f3, c4 type of stuff. And Anonymous Network plays a very... This is only our third game against them. Plays a very strange style where they just sort of hang back on the first three ranks and wait for the opponent to kind of overextend themselves. I decided to operate with f4 today. World Loser's going to have fun looking back over the stream for that game. Why do you say that, Arsenal fan Richie? Anonymous Network, that's what I do when I'm completely on tilt, like after losing a lot of money playing online poker or something. A5, not really a serious move. The point of this stream is not necessarily to play absurd openings. It's to avoid like our kind of routine normal lines. But moves like A5, it's outside the it's a little outside the scope of weirdness. It's more like absurdity. We've reached the level of absurdity now. All right, but okay, dude. Yeah, that's going beyond weird. You're definitely on another plane. Every little kid, you know, when you first learn how to play chess, you want to sort of do this. You want to bring your rook out early. I understand. But I don't know, man. I mean, it doesn't really seem good for black. Rook g6, of course, rook g6. Where else would you put it? I mean, it's exceedingly logical to play rook g6. It prevents me from playing bishop e2, which is the point, right? I don't know, dude. Maybe I'll play g3. It seems like a waste of time, but it does shut down this rook. Maybe we'll go for a fianchetto. Leningrad, Dutch. I mean, in the previous games, Anonymous Network just played strangely, like hanging back on his back three ranks, but now it's like he's reverted to the way I played when I, you know, before I knew the rules. It's funny. Blue Crow's like, World Loser, yeah, but shame on you. You had 3 minutes. Reminds me of the time that I was like 2 pawns up, or 3 pawns up against Andrew Karklin's and in the US Open, and I let him draw, and I was like, shame on you for for drawing that, you know. And he took it really seriously. He was like, shame on you, you know. He was like, I was just kidding, man, you know. Okay, rook g6. We'll try to keep a solid position and not lose on time. Yeah, he's got the coordination going on now. It all makes sense. Knight h6 is a good move. Knight h6 is an excellent move here. I don't really know, you know, what Anonymous Network's goal is in joining our stream. But he's playing really, really absurdly to try to prove a point, or what? Why? Why do this? We could do other stuff with our time, I guess. Not really understanding, what the deal is with this guy. Weird openings are one thing, but just wasting time is another. I think this falls in the category of wasting time. So, don't mean to belittle his play, but it's not really worthwhile here to play this kind of really extremely absurd style of play. It seems like kind of a joke. Bishop g4. Should I play h3 or not? I guess there's nothing wrong with it, but after bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, knight f5. So I think it's best to probably do this first, stopping knight f5, killing this knight on h6. It's a very strange account. I don't understand why they want to play in our stream, really. Point of my stream is to play thoughtful chess, and it seems like black is doing the antithesis of that here, just kind of making random moves as fast as possible. This is exactly the opposite of what I would recommend. F5 now. It's looking like there's some kind of tricks with piece sacrifices and rook e6 that are possible here. Could play h3 now, maybe. It almost feels, I don't know, man. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's using a computer, but it's almost inhuman the way he's playing, I don't know how else to describe it. I had this feeling the first time. It's like, really, it looks like it's like a badly programmed chess computer or something, It's very strange. It doesn't play like a person, or like a normal human chess player. It's like a malfunctioning chess computer or something. There's some tricks based on my king and queen. He does have some tactics around here, it looks like. Fundamentally, white has a good position. I felt the same way yesterday. It was very strange. I thought this game is weird. I might not be better. Then the computer is like you're +5 the whole time. It's not real chess. It's just very, very bizarre. What's wrong with f5, says Spinal Tap Chess? Well, I'm being paranoid, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid he's going to sack a piece and have some kind of rook e6 or something. But he can't do 3 moves in a row, so I'm being afraid of ghosts. Spinal Tap Chess, f5, yes. Knight takes f5, e takes f5, queen takes f5. It looks a little scary. I mean, I thought he's threatening rook e6 there. I guess I just castle and off a piece. Spinal Chat, but you just always have to be so rational and stuff. I don't know. I didn't reject it for a clear reason. It was my fear of taking any risk whatsoever. I was talking to someone about this yesterday when I was playing poker last night, and I have noticed this with my style that I especially try to play. I try to play really correctly here on the stream. I mean, I try to play very safe and methodically and logically. Not quite the same game I would play if it was like a tournament on my own. I want it to be very thoughtful and methodical and instructional And I think that I play a little bit different than I would play like in my own personal tournament game or something. But I was talking about the fact that I think I've been getting a little bit more passive. I've been getting a little bit more timid and like conservative in my old age. And that's not good. I mean, a lot of players are just afraid of ghosts, constantly afraid of ghosts. I mean, not playing f5 for me is it's a two-part thing. It's like partly I'm lazy to calculate like 4 move variations, 3 or 4 move variations. I just want to calculate 1 or 2 moves, especially when I'm streaming and I'm like talking and I don't have, I always get in time pressure. So it's partly laziness, and then partly just a kind of general being afraid of ghosts, like, oh, well, he'll have 2 pawns and maybe some tricks that I'll miss or something. So not really being, confident in your calculation. That's, I think, being afraid of the proverbial ghosts. Spinal Tap Chess is like, why not f5, man, Because he calculates 3 or 4 moves quickly. He doesn't see anything, so it's like winning a piece for 2 pawns. Why not? He's right. I should be... And also I should try to calculate a little bit more thoroughly. Yeah, f5 is practically forced for black. I mean, it's sort of anti-positional. He doesn't have a white squared bishop, and his white squares are kind of going. But if he doesn't play f5, he's basically screwed. He or she. I mean, I'm assuming he's a he. All right. Most people are he's in online chess. Unfortunately, chess playing men outnumber women like 99-1, but that's just the way it is. The other night I was watching you. I brought up Emery Tate. Played him when he came to our chess club for a small tournament in Joshua Tree. Yeah, I think it was surprising that he passed away. He was only in his 50s. I know that's ancient to a lot of younger viewers, but 50's not that old, actually. And Tate was always very full of life and energetic, and it's kind of surprising when someone like that, suddenly passes away. American chess players mostly know Emery Tate. The Europeans did not have that pleasure. What opening is this? It was a Birds opening, and it's turned into a kind of weird closed Sicilian-ish kind of thing, except, well, he hasn't played c5, but I'm playing the white side of what is essentially what looks like a closed Sicilian. Now, he's got that weird rook sandwiched on g6, but putting pressure on g3. His knight is bad, his rook is weird, but I don't have any clear way to... no clear way to take him out. I mean, it looks like he's going to castle and get developed. What would Spinal Tap Chess do? I guess we could play knight e2 and reaffirm our g3 pawn. Would be bishop f2, maybe. I'm a little concerned about this weakness here. I mean, because of that weakness, I can't play d4 and recapture on e4 with my queen, so it's not like just I'm being passive and afraid of ghosts. This is a really annoying spot where my other alternative was coming back, but knight e2 seemed even more passive than playing bishop f2. And finally, bishop f2 is not an unusual move in the closed Sicilian type of structure. So we're talking yesterday about pieces that were placed adjacent to one another, coordinate very well. It's actually a fact. I always liked when I got f4, a5, knight f3, rook a6. The kindergarten variation, basically. It's very critical. Not to be taken lightly. Definitely a demented opening. I mean, I didn't intend for Weird Wednesdays to turn into people playing like totally absurd things. I try not to do that. You know, probably the most extreme I'll do is like once I played e4 knight h6, and I do play the, let's see, d4. Yeah. I do play the d4. No, I do play, I meant to play that last move. Probably good to get fully developed first. Like, everybody's fully developed here, right? But it's insane, like, to play this as a serious opening. You'd almost get the feeling he's done this before. You know what I mean? That's kind of frightening. I mean, it was just too natural the way he swung his rook from a6 to g6 and then coordinated everything after that. Maybe if Anonymous Network like just tried to play real chess, you know, it would be better. Imagine how dangerous he might be if he really just made an effort to play serious moves. Can we try takes on f5? Get ourselves a square? I mean, I guess I should take on c5 here. It's just probably winning a pawn. We try to keep his pieces bad. I think we've done a good job of keeping most of them locked up. He's got a little bit of counterplay. Just kind of backwardness, I want to say, like, for him, you know, my rooks would actually be better placed. My rooks would better placed on d1 and e1. And it looks like he blundered. Putting up the white squared bishop. Something strange about this position. Don't be fooled by his rating. That's a provisional rating. I think he's 1800, chess 960, 2100 in bullet. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. 2100 in bullet is pretty impressive. But I mean, if he's playing openings like that, I mean, I think he's just destroying people psychologically with a5, rook a6. But this game, you know, this is too crazy, you know, to try to play this kind of opening. I feel like it's something of a waste of time. I want to play unusual openings, but not like totally absurd stuff on like f3, e4, king e2, you know, or whatever, the transvestite. Or I mean, I don't want to play like, the point isn't to play like absurd openings. Try to play something a little bit off the beaten track, you know, but not going that far like he did with a5 and rook a6. Am I white every game? Is it one of those troll things? Because this happened once. We had the group, you know, everybody just troll me. By the way, Spinal Tap, thanks for joining us. We don't often get him here on the stream. International Master Spinal Tap Chess. I'm sure it's late there. He may have left. I don't see him on lichess. Maybe he's just watching on the stream. Why am I white every game? You guys trolling me again, where I'm white every single game? This happened once when Jeroen, our old moderator, was here. We played f4. We played b3. No, we played e4, what we played a wing gambit, and we played e4, and we played f4. We've been white every game. That's strange, isn't it? f4, e4, another. No, well, only one e4, right? Let's try it again. See what we get. Thought you were supposed to play chess to Budapest every game. Well, it would be nice if I was black. I'd like to play the Budapest, actually. It's a fun opening. But the Latvian is bad. I mean, I don't mind the Latvian for the streaming purposes, but I wouldn't trust it to play it in a tournament game anymore. Elephant gambit time. Yeah, the elephant is within the realm of reasonable openings, I guess. I noticed when I was playing through a few Elephant Gambit games I had played here on the stream, there's been one or two. There are like one or two crazy players. I mean, I know that Mark Hebden has played it on occasion. He talked to me about it once, but I think I saw like one Russian GM or IM who was playing it like on a regular basis. So Queen E2. That's book, right? Is this really good for me? I don't think I've ever been on the white side of the Elephant Gambit on the stream before. Yeah, I mean, e4 is the main line, I guess. I mean, bishop d6 I played myself here in a stream game. I recalled that. Bishop e7. Well, it's certainly not the most active move, but why not? I mean, it looks like a reasonable attempt to try to sack a pawn. I'm not sure about the follow-up. Like, you could consider a lot of things there. You know, you could play knight takes d5. It looks to me like black has compensation for the sacrificed pawn. I mean, the e-file the e-file is really dangerous. It's almost like a Petrov, one of these weird Petrov. If you take away the computer opening book, it used to play old computer engines that played against each other. They would play e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, Petrov, and then after knight takes e5, they wouldn't play d6, they would play queen e7 instead. And that's what this kind of reminds me of, like a reversed version of like queen e7 in the Petrov. Did I ever play against GM Igor Ivanov? Well, when Igor Ivanov was alive, I don't think he was a GM. But they may have posthumously given him the GM title. He was always I am Igor. It's possible that, you know, somehow in the last year of his life or something they gave him the GM title. I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but anyway, he was GM strength. I just wanted to be. He was always I am Igor. Yeah, we played. Let me remember now. I'm running out of time. Blue Crow. I know. There's no time. Games with Igor. I did play Igor. All games were drawn, but I don't remember now exactly how many there were. 2. Once he played the exchange variation of the King's Indian against me, I think. And maybe once I was white. But I think both games were drawn. Both King's Indian type games. Both games I was white. And I don't think I ever played him again. You got to ask a good question, though. I don't know. Did I play a third game with Igor Ivanov? I feel like there was a third game in the U.S. Championship around 2001 or 2002, but I can't. I'm just kind of like, maybe I'm misremembering. The Schliemann is much better than the Schliemann. Should I develop a piece here? Well, tempo. Pluker, don't fall into the trap of playing for time, like some other players in the near past. The near past, is that an expression that we use? Guys, I've got to look this up because my knowledge of the Elephant Gambit is just totally insufficient. I just remember Hebden saying he played bishop d6, and then I looked at it later, and then e4 was the main move as Plucro played. But I didn't feel comfortable with this position with White when he played e4. I felt like I did something wrong. Queen e2 looks very awkward for White. Somebody did something wrong around here. Ooh, knight takes f6 check. And castles. I like it. Blue Crow. I'm playing the King's Indian attack. I like the structure. It's not that bad. You have a good, promising kingside structure. And plus you're down a pawn. So you're the best of both worlds. I mean, I really have compensation for your material. Bishop g4. And alright, I'm just wasting time. Getting out of pin. I have some ideas. King's Indian bishop. Take rook on a8. Just don't lose on time. Me. I'm talking to me. Well, I mean, Igor was... You know, I don't know what the deal was. I mean, the California chess people probably know, but... Igor probably got a GM title, like an honorary GM title. I don't think he ever actually got the title officially, like, over the board. He didn't really care about it, I don't think, you know. By the time, after a while, I don't think he really cared. Everybody knew that he was GM strength. But he never bothered to, like, travel to Europe. Once he immigrated to the United States, I don't think he ever went back, I mean, to Europe or Soviet Union. Alright, Plucro. Plucro is, I can't say his name, he's very serious about this game. Despite his ridiculous pawn structure and being down a pawn, he actually still has a little bit of compensation. How long has c7 been hanging? I played this really horribly. I mean, you got back to the point where you were, like, equal, it looked like. Wow, the computer still thinks I'm winning here. It's a really tough position. I mean, you got the rook on the 7th. I thought you had really good compensation. This is practically difficult for white. But let me see the opening, guys, before we move on to the next game. Yeah, I mean, there's no question about e4. I mean, it looks like it's clearly the best move. Paschall has actually played this. It must have been like a rapid game or something. I mean, you don't know about the time control. Skachkov is the guy who actually plays this. Okay. So this Skachkov is apparently, I guess, a GM. Queen e2. I've never studied this. Apparently, I mean, this is main line. Makes sense to me. Black can play queen e7, actually. I have seen that. So it's knight c3 isn't so common. Movsesian and Gaiam played it. That's good company. It's a question of d3 or knight c3. It reminds me of the Falkbeer counter gambit. Bishop e7 apparently is the secret move. So this is all theory, Plucro. We're repeating Movsesian versus Paschall. And I played like Movsesian. The computer wants to play knight takes f6, bishop takes f6, d4, like rook e8, knight e5. As if it's like a king's gambit with colors reversed. Again, like a Falkbeer. It looks like something straight out of the Falkbeer. This is actually possible. Allowing rook e8 and playing knight e5. What it wants to... Oh, bishop e3. My bad. Alright, I can play bishop e3. Black has some compensation. Good try, Plucro. The Ominous Monkey played against Jan Timman and Rudy Duvin. I've never played against Mr. Timman. Alright, my normal chess game often involves knight f3, but we're playing weird openings today, which means stuff that's kind of unusual, not like absurd a4, rook a3 type openings, but we try to see what kind of interesting openings we can get after e4. Aura Knight doesn't seem like the kind of player who's going to cooperate with the weird opening stream. I played b4 earlier. Yeah, let's play knight a3. I don't think I've ever played this on the stream before. There was a time when it was very trendy, like 10 years ago. Mr. Zvygintsev popularizing this move. Now g6. It's strange. I wonder why I never played g6 here. When I was black, I never had the idea to play g6, despite the fact that I often played g6 in the Sicilian anyway. It's kind of strange. d4. d4, take, knight f6, e5. Take, knight f6, e5, knight c6. And black can play queen a5 check, win a pawn. c3, bishop g7, d4. I mean, anyway, c3 is sort of part and parcel for this variation. There's something called the big clamp, for lack of a better name, where white plays a closed Sicilian with like f4, knight f3, d3, c3, g3. The car formation, I call it the car. The car pawn formation is something like this. It's shaped like a toy car. You can pretty much play that against any kind of Sicilian, and oftentimes, you know, the knight doesn't have, when you play c3, the knight doesn't have c3 available, so you can develop to d2, but usually a3 is better because it doesn't get in the way of the bishop on c1. Kind of like a knight a6 King's Indian. Of course, it's also common in the Dutch, you know. So this is all sort of standard structural type of stuff. Now knight f6. Our knight playing fast here in this very unusual position. You could play e5. The alternative is d3. I'm not thrilled about d3, but it's certainly not bad. I could have played e5, but after knight d5, it's kind of strange. It's a strange c3 Sicilian with my knight on a3. I actually thought about e5, knight d5, queen f3 there. We're just going to play a big clamp. The car. Otherwise known as the car. Not an expert at playing the car, but they exist. There are experts in the structure. I guess I can also play with bishop e2, but that just seems really less aggressive than fianchettoing the kingside bishop. Just basically a kind of closed Sicilian. Black's playing a very fluid setup. Although any kind of time you play with knight on f6, you have to watch out for f5 pawn breaks. Now he's gone e6. See, it's kind of weird, you know, to play like this structure with the knight on f6. That knight would normally go to e7 in this pawn formation. So I feel like he's sort of, it's a little inconsistent, you know. It's a knight e7 pawn formation with e6. Most players wouldn't play e6 there. But it's difficult to deal with the threat of f5 push. You know, I think he's concerned about that. Does anyone have a chessmate wallet? Faux ostrich leather. I love that faux ostrich leather. Very 70s. It's totally retro. But maybe the real ostrich is better. Is it legal to hunt ostriches still? They use them for meat, right? I mean, do people eat ostriches? That's a good question. I know that it's not politically correct to wear furs and ostrich skin bags, but do people eat ostriches? I never really thought about it. I know they eat ostrich eggs, right? Interesting question. The things we explore here in the chess stream while we're waiting for the opponent to make a move are endless. You know, the possibilities are endless. Subjects of conversation. Ostriches deserve to be eaten. So you've seen ostrich meat. See, well, I figure if they eat the eggs, then the meat has to be fair game too. All right. Faux ostrich. It's like pleather. Rook b8 looks very, very solid. Alright, we're playing the strange car attack. I don't really like playing this kind of closed system, in case you haven't noticed. I'm uncomfortable. I can do it, but it really goes against my nature. Aura Knight has been very impressive. He played very, very solidly here. Even e6 might be a secret move. Quite good for him. I can't stop the b5 push, which really messes with me. And I think we go with knight c4 here. I'm on the fence about it, but we've got to do something, and I don't really love my game. I'm not an avid closed Sicilian supporter, you know. I was actually hoping for something more original when I played knight a3. You can sometimes get some weird Rossalimo type of stuff going on after knight a3. Even bishop b5 is played in some positions. Hard to come up with new ideas. Maybe, yeah, I should just play the open Sicilian and then invent something on like move 6. Rather than go into the closed Sicilian. I should play whatever variant of the Sicilian black wants. And just invent something a little bit later on move 6 or 7. As for why Igor never went back, due to his defection to Canada, well, no, I mean, obviously he's not going to go back to the USSR, but I mean, I kind of meant like, you know, he obviously could have gone back to Europe. I mean, you know, we're talking like 25, 30 years later. I mean, unfortunately for Igor, it wasn't easy to make GM norms in the US until recently. it's become a lot easier since they cut out the requirement to have round robin tournaments. But I just got the impression he didn't care so much, you know. Title just doesn't mean that much. The important thing is winning tournaments. But now you raise an interesting question. Did I play Igor Ivanov in his last years? I don't think so. I think I'm just having kind of difficulty remembering. I think we just had the 2 draws. But it's not impossible. My memory is getting worse and worse. Alright, so it's an exciting game. RL Knight is an endgame specialist, as I've learned. He also plays the closed Sicilian with white, so this was a really, really bad choice for me, theoretically. It's a Dutch reversed and or closed Sicilian. I'm wondering, should I take with a pawn here? Opens up the f-file. It's safer to take with a knight, but it's also kind of wimpy, you know? This entails more risk, but it's also a little more dynamic than taking with a knight. Opening up the f-file. Said that already. But we're also getting a pawn on the 5th rank, which controls, you know, some squares in the opponent's position. Just don't get into like a technical ending with Aura Knight. He's very good at that, and he likes to grind you down in equal endings. Basically a safe, solid player. BG5. I was thinking about bishop h6, obviously. This move probably wastes some time to a degree. Tiny space advantage for us. Hopefully he's not as good tactically as he is in the endgame. This is a very strong move, bishop f5. I overlooked it. He has 96, perfect timing. So I misplayed this, overlooking his ideal defense. Now I'm nearly lost. Wow, what a surprise. I guess that's it. Our knight dismantles me again. Virtually perfect game. Here I had a good game and I hesitated. Probably best to play bishop h6 straight away, I thought. Just d4, bishop f6. This was my original plan. And I changed my mind at the last moment. I mean, allowing knight e6 is just a blunder. I have to go back, queen d2, and lose a tempo. Now I'm just worse after this. I missed g5, of course. I don't have a square. It's lost. Alright. Our knight is extremely strong player. Don't know, he doesn't really talk in the stream. But I wonder if it's not an account of another player we've played before. If it's the same player we've played in another account. It's a relatively new account. Aldisto also... Is it the same person? Are you guys the same person? You have like the same ratings. Probably not. I'm getting paranoid, but the challenges are back to back and they're like both Germans. Alright, let's try e4 again. Go a little bit deeper into... And I'm white every game. Yeah, this is getting kind of stupid. Why are you guys doing this, making me play white every single game? Whose idea was that? It's much more fun if I get to play black too, for everybody. Oh, Aldi still happens to play the Sicilian too, just like the last guy. Some people have tried to do that. They've had like multiple accounts and they try to play me like 2 or 3 times with their 2 or 3 different accounts. So they get more games that way. I really hope that Aldisto and Aronite are not the same player, but they did appear like around the same time, which is kind of weird. Let's try to get some kind of original. Can we get any confirmation that Aldisto and Aronite are different players? You guys, one of you guys in the chat stream can verify that. All right, we're gonna try to play something original here, but it's sort of hard to do. See if I can come up with something. Aronite says I'm not Aldisto. Okay, it's just strange that you're both, you know, lined up right at the same challenge point, and you guys both started watching the stream about the same time, so I have to be aware that there has been a number of situations where we've had people like try to create like 2 or 3 accounts and so they can play like multiple games like back to back to back. That's cool. All right, just thanks for answering, Aronite. You did chat before a couple times. Just to make sure you guys are not the same person. All right, that didn't work out the last game. But again, you know, Black just wants to play their game. They're not interested in the unusual openings part of this. Kind of the same as the last player. Here, I'm going to try to invent something new. With very limited time. With very limited time, what can we invent something new here in this position? Pretty hard to do. Nearly impossible to invent a new move in this position. Well, so much for the weird opening stream. I wanted to try to play something original, but I can't even think of something here. H4. That's really stupid. A3. What can we do? Practically impossible. There's no way to invent a new move here. White's options are too limited. I was thinking about bishop g5, but I think it's just a bad move. White has too many weaknesses on the dark squares in this kind of position to afford just throwing the bishop out there to g5. So I don't know. I'm going to play f4 here. It's a very aggressive move. Alright, Knight, if you want to send me your FIDE card. No, I just want to confirm that you're not the same person. That's cool. Because you did start playing on the stream around the same time, but it's just a coincidence. It's alright. But I just wanted one of you guys to answer and let me know. Alright, so you'll answer for him too, right? I'm just kidding. A6. Alright. I remember like Believsky doing this, winning a really, really nice game. There's a collection of Believsky's best games, which I recommend. I think it's written by him. There are no coincidences. All right. Well, Adisto just keeps playing instantly like he knows this is a main line. I'm supposed to be playing weird openings, guys. Sorry about this game, but I was hoping to find something later, but I couldn't. We're just going to have to play some kind of semi-rare variation. It's actually not that rare. I mean, f4, if he knows his stuff, is probably a known but relatively non-main line. Very dynamic way for white to play f4. Not that common like the other lines with like f3, bishop e3, bishop e2, even g3. I want to thank you guys for joining me here. We're here Monday to Friday playing Blitz and classical chess. Monday's just classical, Friday just Blitz. In between we're playing both. Tomorrow Blitz and classical, everything just normal openings. Bishop b7. I don't think we're going to castle queenside. You can try it if you want to. I mean, it seems like you're kind of castling into an attack. When Black's played this quick queenside development kind of system. I've never played this position in my life, but it's kind of similar to some lines of the Scheveningen. I think what Black's doing in this game is pretty risky. I mean, the very early b5 strikes me as a quite uncompromising way of playing. Castles. Well, I'm going to castle kingside. I mean, castling queenside just seems like asking for it. Not like white gets mated, but you're facing pressure on the c file. It seems more prudent to castle kingside. Plus, I have a minute. He has 3 minutes. Yeah, this is automatic move. H5. 2170 classical, very few games. 450 games in blitz. Bullet 2500, mostly bullet. H5 is the cure-all. You know, they always play that in these kind of positions. But what about your king in the center? I mean, it feels really macho to play like this with black, but ultimately it's quite risky. Black doesn't really have a safe situation for the king. So I don't think white has to do anything special. Just try to play fundamental chess, and ultimately black should have some issues with his king. I've certainly played like this type of game with black a lot, but I never feel safe playing h5 and such. It's extremely risky. You have a good setup, but he's going to castle queenside. Yeah, well, he can try to do that, but you know, with my pawn on f4, it's not that easy for him to play g5. Play bishop c5 now. Possible piece sacrifices here for me. Knight takes b5. But probably not going to work. Most likely I just have to exchange on c6. No M-poker donk. I mean, it's possible this is like theory, actually. Would surprise me if this has all been played before. The moves for both sides are really... the moves for both sides feel pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm going to play knight b3. It's debatable moment, you know, to take on c6 or play knight b3. If I take on c6, I kind of unravel his pieces a little bit, activating his bishop on b7. So my thought here is that we're keeping him a little bit bottled up by not letting him trade, you know, and open that bishop on b7. But we're paying the price that our knight is also, you know, not great on b3, out of play. But it's really not enough time. 6+3 game. I've really been treating it like it was kind of an 8+3 game in terms of using all my time up. d6. It kind of looks like a standard Khan Sicilian now. Strange move a little bit, but the c-file tends to become an interesting avenue for both sides in this kind of position. Damn. I played this very routinely. I think I might have had bishop takes b5 check. But I've become too afraid to gamble. I was talking about this earlier. I don't like gambling, and especially not in chess. But sometimes you just have to. I mean, sometimes you just don't have a choice, and should go with like the practical. You know, I'm trying to play a controlled game all the time, basically. I think it's really asking a little too much to expect to have control of the situation all the time. He just happened to have that. Yeah, he's gonna win this. Pretty good tactical eye with no time left. What? Lost to him too. Let's see how perfectly black played this. I think his position was worse. There's no theory. Here I thought I had bishop takes b5, but maybe it doesn't work. e5, the best move. We just lost because of time. I mean, I missed this trick. He's still equal. Wow, I don't know why it's giving him all this high center pawn loss at the end. Okay. So I didn't see queen b6 check. Oh well, a game decided by the time again. Interesting game. We've got challenges from Arsenal fan Richie Resignanian. Haven't seen you in a long time. Bong Ripper Havgar Morales. President Donald Duck. I don't think we can accept a provisional challenge. I don't think we're going to get that many games in, very possibly. Let me refresh the stream here, the page, and check. Oh, what happened? How did I accept this challenge from Mule Skinner? I didn't mean to click on anything. Mule Skinner, were you next? Okay, he was next. All right. We lost 2 in a row. Well, everybody's strong. I didn't see queen b6 check. I thought I was better there, and the computer says I'm not. All right, Mule Skinner. Let's try something different. Trumpowski. How would I guess I could play the Trumpowski. Not my usual repertoire. Oh, I played the advanced variation. Whoops. I didn't mean to do this, but now it's too late. I meant to play something else. All right, Mule Skinner, let's try this old Queen G4 line. I clicked it. So I wanted to check President Donald Duck to see if this is... Why can't I see the hyperlinks? Some kind of problem with my Firefox, probably. It's just nothing but problems. Still not letting me. Wow. Sometimes it lets me, sometimes it doesn't. It's so weird. No. It's not going to cooperate today. I don't know. If President Donald Duck doesn't have like 50 games, then I'm not going to play. Unfortunately, we got in too bad time pressure there and blundered. I thought we were better, but it was not. I don't know, man. I mean, that's a pretty risky way to play with black, the previous game. I don't really trust black's position. He manages to castle there, I mean, with h5 in, and like he's Veselin Topalov or something. Even Topalov has switched to the Caro-Kann, apparently. Alright. We need to develop the pieces. It's basically a long-term pawn sacrifice for white. I should have played, what? The Wing Gambit. No, I don't know. Mule Skinner's pretty well prepared for mainstream stuff like that. You like the Wing Gambit, Blue Crow? I don't remember. Did you play that yourself? This line, I mean, it's subjectively not that good for white, but I think that it's a great practical weapon. You know, and if you look in the database, you see it's always had a certain following. I think an effective, very effective system for white for club players to play this old gambit line. There are other variations of it too, like you can take on c5. That's one of Nimzovich's old systems. Also knight f3. You know, basically knight f3 with the idea of just not taking back on d4. Knight f3, sacking a pawn, cd, and just bishop d3, and just develop, and just like leave the pawn on d4. Hopefully this pawn on d4, you know, eventually we can regroup it and recoup it, I should say, and basically white will you know, just use the space advantage in the meantime. Chrome is better apparently for everything. I just hate supporting a big company like Google, you know. I just feel like they control our lives, these corporations like Microsoft, Google. You know, it's kind of like why I play on lichess. I don't want to support greedy companies. But that's the trap. I mean, Chrome seems to work better in a lot of ways than Firefox. Knight on g to e7, and he's going to be attacking my e5 pawn, so pretty quickly with a lot of force. As far as castling goes, you know, he can harass me with checks. There is something to be said for like h4, h5 with my rook on h1 though. I mean, I could just leave my king on e1, stick it on f1, and if there's a check or something, and just play h4, h5 here. Probably better to have my rooks connected. I sound like a hippie. Well, I'm no man, I mean, it seems like, I mean, they install a lot of tracking programs. I mean, I told you I'm paranoid. Big corporations are evil, right? Trying to take over the world. The reptilians. And, you know, let's talk about some weird conspiracy theories. Mule Skinner is just fast, very practical. Yeah, my problem is this whole thing about castling. I really wish I could have played h4, h5, you know, and punished his knight there. We could still play h4. It's kind of interesting. h4, h5, queen g3. Bishop takes h4, knight takes h4. But he has queen takes h4 at the end of the day, it looks like. I could play bishop g5. That doesn't look right. That's not going to work. h4, bishop takes h4, bishop takes g6, h takes g6. So h4, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, g3, h5, and I resign, I guess. No, I have queen h3, but that's weird. I guess there will be issues here for me. How about playing queen h5 now? It's kind of a loss of time. I don't remember obviously all my old games against you guys, so it's possible I played this against Mule Skinner once before, a long time ago, and I forgot about it. seems like he's following a recipe here. Like he knows this variation. And my position is sort of sketchy. If he plays f6 at some point, I'll take on g6. I don't know what else to do but develop my pieces here. Yeah, we said yesterday, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. What I don't mean to spark a big debate about, you know, big corporations and whatnot, but I don't like to focus on political stuff. But as far as browsers go, it does seem like Google Chrome has less hiccups than Firefox for sure. But that's just where I stand. I just don't like to support. I don't like to choose the big corporation if I can go to the independent cafe rather than Starbucks. I'll probably go that way too. I see my phone's camera in use. Yeah, they're tracking your television now. They're watching you on your television. Big Brother. I don't know, man. It seems like Mule Skinner is kind of strong for this system. I'm not sure this is going to work against him. We've lost 2 games in a row, and it's not often that I do that, but they were both just a matter of good positions with me making some kind of blunder. I'm usually talking about the games, and like last game we only made it to move 13, and I already used 5 out of 6 minutes. No, I don't know if I should be, but I feel happy he played h5. What do you guys think about that? Kind of compromising his king side. We're overprotecting the e5. Nimzovich would have been proud. So threatening bishop takes g6. That's the basic idea. Strong point, blockade. If you look at this line with the computer, it's going to be full of holes. This variation with queen g4, you know, the computer will laugh at you, and it's probably true. If black plays perfectly, he gets an advantage. But human beings are just generally not perfect, and I think that it's a really interesting practical line. Anyway, today is unusual openings stream, and so I decided to play it. And although I don't know the theory very well, I confessed yesterday I don't really play the advanced variation, but I've sort of been experimenting with it here. Okay, bishop h4. Well, there's another one bit the dust, right? There's another one to take his place. And another one, right? It's an old song that only people who are senior citizens like myself would remember. We've got another one to take the place on f3. I thought this is just a fun way to play it. Now f takes is interesting because I would carve out a square for my king, open the f file maybe. On the other hand, already black has a pretty big central majority, so this is a lot of pawns. We call Uwe calls this the Uwe calls this the Uwe. He calls this the central pawn predominance of central pawns. That's it. If I take with the f pawn, I'm going to have very little central pawn predominance, right? 1 pawn against 4. That feels bad, man. All right. We need to pick off Mr. D-pawn. Donald D-pawn. must go. I could play b4 there. Maybe I should. I don't know. It just feels more weakening and less flexible. Surrounding the nugget, preparing to take it. We could take it at our leisure. No rush. No fuss, no mess. It's like an infomercial. But so at the end of the day, we don't have a lot here. We're going to get our pawn back. And I'm twirling my hair like Josh Friedel. I don't know where to hurt it, but somehow, sure, opera is dead. Well, opera, right, you're talking about my Mac, which I don't know anything about. Freddie Mercury. Marius have how much cheese can one eat? You're reminding me of Wallace and Gromit now. I was thinking about that the other day, actually. Can you overdose on cheese? Wallace and Gromit, an awesome animated claymation series. Rook c8. The problem is, what if I play a4 at some point? This is kind of a funkadelic idea. But I didn't like him playing bishop b5 at some point later on, trading his bad bishop. It's pretty strange, a4, admittedly, in some respects. And he went with that, and so I don't care about this. I mean, opposite color bishops will probably happen. How much cheese in one sitting? Yeah, it's very. That's the thing we ask ourselves every day. It is an interesting question. It's still equal. But now you see the point of a4 in action. We can liberate that guy with bishop a3. Oh no. Yeah, I like this now. There's not going to be any opposite color bishop endgame. So sorry about that. Maybe we should go with the a rook. It's really tough to call this. Which rook? Nah. We'll go with the f rook. Are you playing for that opposite color bishop endgame again? f4. White's a little bit better. We have the classic Steinitzian knight on d4. And then I was thinking a5. Well, I'm not overextending myself. I timed this so bishop b5 could be met with king e3. Oh, the endgame. I don't know if Capablanca can draw this. Got a really good king. His pawns are fixed on the wrong color. Maybe I hesitated here too much. King on d4. Where do I want to put my knight? Let's see. I mean, I don't think that black has any winning chances here unless I really play like really, really badly. Maybe f5 is a break that works. F6. Interesting. There's some possibilities that there's some possibilities that his bishop grabs his pawn on g2 later on. I was thinking knight e3 here. Oh man, this is getting really irritating. I feel like I'm playing Verusian Jacobian. Yeah, we just have to go for it here. The Ultra King. I mean, Ultra King. Ultra King has been called. Ultra King wins. But this was a really, really unconvincing, I want to say unconvincing victory. I think in king and knight versus king and bishop, it's really pretty much like mandatory that you have a super active king. It's nice to get over the losing streak, guys. Lost 2 games in a row, managed to hold that together. Before, I don't know, man. I mean, I think that black was holding on here. I was even a little bit worse. Worried I could be worse around here, but apparently I'm winning. Even f5 check right away. Holy crap. But that was a blunder. So here, in this moment, I started to get scared. When he went king g6, I'm winning, actually. Clearly better. So I found it. Okay. But earlier, it seems like black should have been alright. It's only slightly better for white, but I don't think it's an easy position to play. Arsenal fan Richie, Resignanian, Bong Ripper. Vote chess. I wonder if we could play vote chess as a group. Interesting suggestion. Slaggy against the world. You know, I hate that though. Those guys that do those, whoever against the world, always just end up playing like a million computers. It's sort of stupid. Okay, Arsenal fan Richie. Thank you for letting me play black. Did you ruin the... Richie ruined the joke? Where everybody was white? Every single game? My first game with black, it's not a coincidence, right? I mean, I'm not paranoid. Am I? We had the troll once before, you know, like a few months back, last year, I guess, where every game was white, and I was like, come on, man, this is not funny. We had it again, but Richie Richie played me with white. Thank you, Richie, for being correct. Unusual opening stream against e4. I would have liked to have played the Dutch against d4, but against e4, I could play the French defense. I never play the French defense, but that's not really an unusual opening, although it is for me. Okay, let's try something something funky. it's not necessarily the French defense yet, because I'm going to play... Richie, I think, was it you who was asking? You were asking about this the other day, right? The Franco-Sicilian. No, this makes it fun. A good friend of mine plays d4, c5, and he tries to get these. But you really need to be a Benoni player to play this. I think that d6 is considered... My last game that I ever played, Hikaru Nakamura, he was playing a lot of d4, and I never played the French, but I wanted to play the English defense. So he played d4 and I played e6, and he called my bluff and he played e4. But I ended up playing the French, and I regret that, because I should have at least tried to do something weird like d4 c5 to get out of... I was trying to play the French seriously in that game, but I regret that I didn't at least try this. This was years ago when Hikaru first became a GM. But he wasn't as strong as now, obviously. He was still very strong already. That's my last ever French defense against Nakamura in 2003. 14 years ago. God. He must have been like 14 years. How old was he? 15 or something? Around 15. Can't believe that 14 years have gone by since that. It's really scary. Alright. So the basic premise of this is black try to put pressure on this pawn on d5. Well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do if he goes c4 now, to be perfectly honest. The thing is that e4, you know, Arsenal fan Richie and most people who play e4 aren't really comfortable playing Benoni type positions. And that's the basic idea for black. Put the opponent in an uncomfortable situation. But honestly, you really need to have some experience with this. He played c4. It's not the main move. I mean, knight c3. I've played with white. I don't know if I've ever had this in a tournament game. Kind of hard to believe I haven't, but now we can go bishop g4. It feels like an Alekhine's defense or something almost. Like in the Benoni, it's probably important to trade a set of pieces in some situations. Free yourself so you're not blocked in. Everything is a mental illness, technically. It's just a matter of categorizing things for people to... Here maybe bishop f6, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking bishop f6. Let's try it. I mean, you got an e4 player playing basically what is a structure that looks like a Benoni. Although this does happen, like I said, it's a little similar to some lines of the Alekhine's defense. Could be like a weird Petrov or Russian defense, where there's symmetrical pawns and black didn't play d5. So I'm not sure that the e4 player is all that uncomfortable playing this position for white. There are a number of openings where you get the symmetrical structure. Exchange French, Petrov, Alekhine's defense. I played knight d2. My pieces are going to get a little congested. No, I mean, I think white's just a little better here. I hope this works. I hope my pieces don't start tripping over each other. This is a strange move. I was actually interested in changing that plan anyway, because I was having trouble with knight e4. Maybe what white should play there. And we've stopped that now. So we made a lot of progress. Now I think black has a good game. Rook b1. Making negative progress for white. Nice bishops. g3. He's stopping knight f4. Obviously, he wants could have some other ideas with this move as well. But I'm going to castle. Open file in this position. I was a little worried about h4, to be honest with you. h4, h5 always kicks the knight on g6 in many instances in a very inconvenient way. Still, he's 2 minutes ahead on the clock. I don't know. Chess is not easy, you know. It's not easy to beat anybody. I was talking about the typical, like, you know, you go to the bar or whatever, and some guy asks you, hey, can you beat me in 10 moves at chess? It's very hard to beat anybody. You know, what people don't understand. I mean, even after he's made some mistakes, Richie here is still fine, you know. Maybe I'll play bishop h3. Is that even good for me? Probably not. So it's very hard to beat anybody. I mean, you can't just beat people in 10 moves at will. And that's the case here. Let's try to bring some pressure down on him. Maybe I should have played this earlier, but I was interested in completing my development. Yes, queen b3, rook e8. You know, this is the weak point of my position. He's got no pressure on d6. So I guess generally speaking, if you're playing any kind of Benoni and the other player doesn't have any pressure on your d6 pawn, you're probably in a good situation. Don't like the knight on b6 in general, but in this particular situation, it looks good. Got a lot of pressure on his queen side. We might have to regroup, though. Three-second increment. Magnus Carlsen beat Bill Gates at a talk show in something like 12 moves. Yeah, that's awesome. He played horribly. I guess so, dude. You have to really try to lose in 12 moves. I always hated that, you know. I'd go out with my friends, and somebody would be like, hey, I bet you $10 you can't beat me in 10 moves. You know, I'm like, you want to say, yeah, I could, but in reality, it's not that easy, you know. A4, double exclam. That is... That's the secret move, man. You had to play a4. You're lost with anything else. I mean, maybe a3, knight a4, rook a2, but that looks... Knight a4 was threatening, and I think a4 is a great move. So we'll try to massage white in a different way here, but... I mean, if I'm not careful, I could end up... I hate to say worse, but... That's the word I was looking for. He's so fast, dude. Arsenal fan Richie must be playing a lot of bullet chess. Wait, how do you defend this position? Oh no. Mr. Bill. Too fast. But again, this is one of those positions that's like what I talk about a lot, you know, taking real estate. With real estate comes responsibility. I have no weaknesses except for d6, and that's the only weak point, and it was hard for him to attack that. Right off the bat in the opening, when he played rook b1, he blunders. But I thought knight e4, hitting my bishop on f6, would have immediately put me on the defensive. Guys, I just want to remind everyone I have a YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. We are uploading the streams over there. Also, we try to create some original content, instructional videos once a week or so. So please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Pawn Whisperer. Who was saying like everything's a disease? Pawn weaknesses are a disease. Oh man, this is a terrible move. Yeah. I'm gonna screw this up. My bishop on h3 is almost trapped. It's kind of a miracle it's not. Richie's like in full playing for time mode here. Consolidate my extra piece sooner or later. I've just been very hesitant. Should have played this probably 100 moves ago. Bishop d1 hitting b3. Should have. Goodbye. Check. Getting a little bit tired, I guess. I didn't see 93 check right away. We all have a tendency to let down when we get like a totally winning position, a piece up. I mean, I'm as much a victim of that as anybody. I just kind of win a piece, and you're like, oh well, the game's over, you know, and you start kind of turning off your mind and thinking, oh, it's, you know, I mean, the stronger you are, the more you have a tendency to do that, because winning a piece is usually just game over. I mean, a pawn or something is another story, but he's going for his first win. Everything is corrupt. Resignanian we haven't played in a long time. Good that he joined us. It's nice to get a master strength player. NM Resignanian from Latvia, right? Alright. It's Weird Wednesday. I've played all e4. So I feel like someone was asking for Trompowsky. And Bermuda Ghost Ship is watching. That's a kind of cool name. The Bermuda Triangle. Resignanian avoiding the Trompowsky. You know, it's very hard to play an unusual opening against g6. He probably knows that. He's trying to frustrate me. Maybe we get a transposition to a King's Indian. Could play the Nanu. We'll see what he does. No, he's not going to let me. We could do knight d2. It's not really good here, though. I mean, I like knight d2 against King's Indian. What's he going to play if I play knight d2? Unusual opening stream. The speckled hen. That's what we could do. If knight f6 was played. That was played against me by the Romanian player Nanu. d4, knight f6, knight f3. g6, knight bd2, bishop g7, b4. I was kind of stunned. But I mean, it goes back to a lot of old ideas. Keith Arkell from England does that straight up against the King's Indian, like move 3, b4. I mean, it's just a form of it's like a form of the Polish opening, basically, essentially. Anyway, back to reality here. I'm just kind of stalling while I'm trying to think of something unusual to play. The Veresov of some form of Veresov. Well, he could just transpose to the modern. I mean, it's kind of weird to go knight c3. I mean, I could play e4 straight up and then knight c3. But then it's the normal line. Marius Hav says, I've played the F3 Nimzo a couple of times. Every time we did, you remember some Romanian grandmaster who made it famous over there. And that's how you remember I'm from Romania. Not that I mind, but I'm from Norway. Okay. But I mean, I'm actually thinking that you're from Romania because your name is Marius, you know. That's actually why I'm thinking that, not because of anything else. For some reason, just because of your name. But thanks for clearing that up. I won't. I don't know why. I thought you were in Romania. Were you living in Romania, or is there some reason why I was convinced of that fact? Just that your name is Romanian. I guess that Marius doesn't have to be Romanian, right? It might be. It might be used in other countries as well. Wow, what a deep idea. See, that's what we get when we just make assumptions. I just never met anyone else from any other countries named Marius. So I just assumed you're from Romania. Queen d2. I think there was a guy from Hungary. Okay, you might occasionally find a Hungarian with that name. There was this weird Hungarian guy I met in the States, who I think his name was Marius too. It's obviously an old name. Knight c6. That's a weird move. He's blocking his c-pawn. I think weird in combination with a6. Okay, he played a6 to stop knight b5, I guess. But there's something strange about this. Still, I think that essentially he could play like f6, e5 or something if I'm not careful. We haven't explored, 90% of the inside of the Earth. That's a good point. How did we get there in that subject? Anyway. H3. You guys must be really bored with the stream. Oh, I love H5, Resigninian. I love that. That's what we want to see, you know? Some nice pawn weaknesses. Are we just gonna play G4? You think that? No. I wouldn't play G4 on you. Alright, well, I guess we're basically looking at E4 here, dropping a pawn. Castle's queenside. If castle's queenside, knight f6. I think we can do it, man. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to play dynamically. e4 was even possible, but I couldn't really justify it. I mean, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight takes. Yeah, come to think of it, it would be nice if I was castled. Oh no. Bishop f5. Oh, man, we really want to play some kind of pawn sacrifice here. e4. e4, pawn takes pawn. Do I want to play e3 or knight e5? He's threatening bishop b or knight to b4 here. Sort of dangerous threat. I can play e4, pawn takes pawn. d5, pawn takes knight, pawn takes knight. I'm not sure if that's sound or not. I don't know, black's position looks a little bit suspicious, but I don't really see... You know, he's delayed his king development and the knight and the rook and everything. It seems like there should be a way to get at him here. e4, pawn takes pawn, knight g5. But it's not enough. So we'll just play positionally, I guess. This is pretty lame to play e3. The other possibility was knight e5. That was... It doesn't really threaten anything. Knight e5. So we'll just develop. Pretty mundane move, but principled. He's trying to play weird yourself. Okay, well you've done it. You played you played h5, knight c6, a6. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I remember he played along before. What's the fastest way to improve at chess from say 1800 plus rating? Well, I think it's a combination. You know, there's not one thing. I think you've got to do a lot of things. You've got to play a lot. You've got to study your own games, analyze your own games. Probably like the single most important thing you can do. And lessons with a strong player really helps. I think it makes your improvement faster. But, you know, 70% of the onus is on you to work on your own. No matter, you know, if you're studying with Garry Kasparov, you still need to work a lot on your own. And I think playing tournament games and studying your games is the best way to improve. Another way to improve that I strongly recommend is studying complete games of master level players. And, you know, it's kind of a lost art. I mean, everyone is so obsessed with the computer, and playing online, playing bullet chess. But I learned more from books, you know, that were annotated by strong players than any other single training method. There's no substitute. You know, it's like a lesson with the grandmaster. Every time you read an annotated game by a world-class player. So, you know, that would be the #1 place to work. Now, this is an interesting moment. I'm going to take with the pawn here. I'm going to play Schlechter style. He controls the key e4 square. It also creates a position where, you know, the c file could be useful. Now, he's obviously prepared. You know, he knew that the c-file was going to be tender. That's why he pulled the knight back, Resigninians and NM. He knows about that secret stuff. Bishop takes c7 followed by knight takes d5. Get 2 pawns and a rook and some chaos going on. As Larry Christensen says, though, if you see something good, look for something better. But I am a little low on time. Knight b5. Knight b5 doesn't look that convincing. I don't know about this sacrifice 2 pieces for a rook. It would mess him up, though. All right. He can also sack his queen. I discounted this, but it was foolish to do that. I mean, he actually gets quite a few pieces for the queen. I was just hoping, basically, that his pieces get kicked around and he doesn't have good coordination and he can't castle. You know, so hopefully this will work out. We've got queen for rook. Damn, dude. All right, we can actually we can't afford to wait on this. Less time. Tactically, he's very good. Bishop h6, knight g5. I thought this was interesting. He didn't play bishop h6. Who? Okay, next. Man, he sees everything. This was a terrible move. Was it? Maybe, maybe not. He's fast and strong. Rook b8. I didn't expect... sorry. I decided to sack pawn here. But this is probably really bogus. What? Wow. I don't understand why he couldn't take with the pawn. Now I think I might be winning. I just bluffed him. If he takes with the pawn... Did I have something? Like e6? It doesn't look that convincing. I don't know where my follow-up is. I was just kind of making this pawn sacrifice intuitively, but he had to take, I think. Okay, he's still not necessarily lost, but well, it looks pretty tough. It's like he's sort of melted down. Well, at least now we have enough material for the queen. He's reduced to playing for time. Okay, the h4 pawn's not going anywhere. I defended f2. Just make sure we don't get mated on the back rank. It's most likely that he's not used to playing with increment. I don't really play with increment in my free time very much myself. How long have I been missing this move? At least I saw it, like, finally. You guys are probably sitting there on a stream like, when is he gonna see that? Yeah. It wasn't good. We just do a quick review here. Rook, bishop, and knight equals queen and 2 pawns. Did I get 2 pawns? I think I had a good game, but the queen sacrifice was going too far. The computer says it's okay, but it's not the best move. It's really kind of like jumping the gun. Wow, apparently knight b5 was good. I didn't see anything here convincing. Bishop e5. Oh no. If I just looked one move further, you get your piece back here with interest. Alright, so we went the wrong way. It was interesting though. I thought now I'm like lost, but I guess I was being pessimistic. I thought bishop h6 here, but knight g5 is unclear. Wow. The engine said this was actually a sound game. I thought I was just worse. Wow. But anyway, here, I didn't like e5. I don't think bishop b8 is right, though. It messes up your coordination too much. Yeah, that's apparently bad. And d5 is like exclam. Wow. Okay, so why can't you take with a pawn here? He has to take with the pawn. My intuition was right. Rook e1, though. Okay, anyway, I mean, I was going to probably play something like d4. But I still didn't think it was so easy. And it's a good game. Alright, Resignania, thank you for an interesting game. Bong Ripper, I'm surprised that, I'm happy that was actually sound, you know, because I thought, I mean, if you watch the stream back, you're going to see that I wasn't very confident. Unusual openings, we're trying to play different stuff. What are we going to do here? Borrow a page from Resignanian. Thanks for playing, Master. Alright, so like a delayed Alekine's defense I was thinking of here. Really weird line. That was a fun game, though. I had no clue. I thought I was worse. I thought that the queen sacrifice wasn't sound, but objectively it was balanced. And we both made some small mistakes. Bong Ripper plays knight c3. I hate taking on c3 in these kind of positions. It just seems to give all the dynamics to white. So when I have the choice, I'll opt for strengthening my own knight on d5. So I missed bishop takes c7, knight b5 I saw, but I missed bishop takes c7, queen c8, bishop e5. Need to calculate one more move. But Resignania plays very fast, like most of you guys, and you don't give me too much time to think. It's not easy. It's a tricky time control, you know. I mean, you feel like it's blitz, but then you say, oh, okay, 8 minutes. It's like double the normal blitz game with the increment. I mean, 8 plus 3 is basically like a 10-0. It's double a normal blitz game, but still, you just don't have time to burn in this time limit. Okay, now Bong Ripper. He's played very, very logically so far. It looks like a typical Alekhines defense, sort of sideline with knight c3. Perfectly good for white. White should have a small advantage here. Pretty conservative. You hate kids chewing on my chess pieces and over the board. I hate people twirling their pieces in front of my what do you call it? Line of vision. You know? And some people do it on purpose. They're sitting like right there, obviously, you know, and they're putting the piece, but they don't twirl their pieces on their time, just on your time. Chewing gum, well, yeah, that's okay. I just don't like visual things, you know. We can tune out the gum chewing, but the visually twirling pieces is very irritating. Kicking my feet under the table, that's another favorite. A specialty of Boris Kryman and Andrei Volokitin. Rook e1. I like how once I was accused of kicking my opponent's feet under the table, but what people don't know is that his feet were under my chair, you know. That doesn't really count, you know. When your feet are under the opponent's chair, that's not kicking your feet, you know. That's like having your feet under your own chair. Anyway, I love to talk about this kind of stuff. Here. Well, Bong Ripper, impressive. We've never played this player before. It's a new account. New account. But playing very classically against this setup. If I take, that could be a problem for white. He's going to have to sack a pawn. I like this variation of take, and then what's happening at the end of the day there, though? Take. Queen takes. He's going to get play. If I had like one more move, e6, black would have a tremendous position. All right, let's see. How much compensation does he have here for his kind of broken structure? Quite a bit. I mean, the bishop pair seems pretty dangerous. He's got the b file, e6 sacrifices. Of course, trading queens takes some of the wind out of his sails. Trading queens, snap the pawn on e5 if he takes with a rook. hard to resist. What? He just insta-took with a rook. I mean, I think that bishop takes is by far the main move here. I mean, that is a central pawn, and there's nothing, I'm threatening nothing immediately after bishop takes. But he quickly played rook takes. There's nothing on the d file. It's nice to have an open file, but still. Surprised by this automatic recapture. So bishop takes e5, rook b1, b6. I'm going to take, I mean, this is too important. This pawn is too important. This isn't really about being materialistic. I mean, I need that pawn is dangerous. It's always threatening e6. I need to eliminate that, and white has compensation, but I just feel like black's position is so fundamentally solid. Now he played bishop a3. Rook e8, rook b1. Actually, rook e8, rook e1 isn't possible. Rook e8, rook b1 with great compensation. So now I have to sack a pawn back with bishop d6. And I think we're pretty good to go. Or not. Maybe not. He resigned. Alright, what's really going on here? No, you have to take and play rook b1. And you're still better. That's the point. It was pretty brilliant. It's maybe a draw though. I'm gonna actually sack a pawn here. Be down a pawn. Black has good chances to hold this, but it's only a draw at best. I missed rook b1 honestly when I played bishop d6. I'm not sure that's the best move. Bishop f6 would have been better. Or the aforementioned rook e8. It's just a very unpleasant position for black. Like bishop f6, rook b1, b6, and I'm kind of frozen. But it's okay. I can move my knight and sacrifice the c6 pawn. So, you know, we just give this guy up. Knight a6, and just draw. It's probably a draw. All right, he hung a piece. Havgar 5+3. We're over time. I just realized, guys. Wow, nobody even told me. I was having so much fun that I extended the stream. It's all right though. That's why we're here. He dropped a piece on a3. Last game, guys. Sorry, I overstayed the stream. I never do that. I'm usually like so tired by the end of the stream, but I was having fun today, and went a little over. It's cool. All right, Havgar Karo Khan. What's unusual? I mean, people play the bishop c4. Jack Young. Bozo's Chess Emporium. Long before it was adopted by Simon Williams. Let's try something original. We'll just play g3. Kind of modern defense with colors reversed. You can always do that, right? Am I right in thinking this is a line? Bishop g2? I guess there's nothing wrong with taking. Now, I'm just hoping he plays f5. I tend to remember a line like something like that. White doesn't have any advantage here. We're giving up our opening advantage to just play a position that's comfortable. Oh man, bishop f5. In the spirit of the day, what did you mean with bishop f5? Black's still super solid. It's a GF Caro, except I haven't played d4, which might even be to my benefit. I like the GF Caro. Actually, I never play that on the stream, but I should. It's a fun opening, and it's seen some surge in popularity. People that kick each other under the table over the board. Well, you know, it's not this like overt, like brutally kicking you. It's this kind of annoying, like, oh yeah, it was an accident. But Volokitin just like parked his feet under my chair, and considering he was like 5'3", that was kind of weird. The guy was clearly doing it as sort of gamesmanship. I had to call the arbiter and ask her to remove his feet from under my chair. I mean, this guy's a grandmaster. I mean, that's ridiculous. But what people won't do to try to get an edge. All right, now d4 starts to look kind of interesting. We could actually transpose to a normal GF Caro. If I play d4, I would think. Let's go for it. It's more active than d3. I kind of like it now. If he plays e4, his pawn structure looks pretty sketchy. I would imagine, though, that like for this position to actually exist in the GF Caro, I probably would have had to play c3. I would have had to have played c3 at some point previously. Usually they play that on like move 5 or whatever. So c3 here could transpose. He's going to castle long. No surprise. Nice active chances for black. Exceedingly logical. Bailing out to the queen's side. Absolutely. It's a must. The only safe place for your king here with that pawn structure on the king side. Castle's king side is asking for trouble. He has to do this. And then I don't know what to do here. Alright. I'm really torn about. I don't like undoubling his pawns, but at the same time, you know, his hanging pawns are weaknesses too. So, and I think that my queen will probably go to e2, where it will be in a safe position to sort of influence the center without getting attacked. Dr. Dynamic. He just ignores the pawn. All right. Well, I'm not partial to taking gifts. I don't mind accepting pawn sacrifices. More queen sacrifices, anybody? But I never intended on, you know, trying to win a pawn in the first place, to be honest. Take f6. Knight takes f6. My queen is really getting a little short of squares there. Sort of crazy. It looks like a Slav. Another possibility is knight h4. Moving my knight away from the center. I'm not sure that's good. Okay, well, it's time to move. I'm not interested in material at this juncture. Now we're down to 38 seconds. I think when you have less time, it's important to, try to play without as much risk. And I'm going to focus on development. This is not really a developing move. I said I'm going to focus on development. But it opens up my queen. We have good blockading ideas against his hanging pawns. What happens if you punch the person kicking you under the table? Then they take you to jail because they were a minor. At least in my case. All right, I don't know. I'm just going to develop a piece. It's always more complicated. It's always like little kids that kick my feet. Or medium kids. Medium-sized kids. Oh my god, I'm playing like an idiot here. What else is new? I destroyed this position. How well he's coordinated. So he's turned out the whole plan with knight h4 as like a farce. It's unbelievable. He's refuted my entire plan with knight h4, blockading. I mean, maybe it would have worked if I had played very accurately here. I guess I have to play queen h5 right away instead of wasting time. I don't think queen h5 right away would have helped that much either, to be honest. Now I'm screwed. Yeah, man. You refuted my whole position. Still, it's not that bad. Even though I wasted 100 tempi, my position is still not that bad, is it? It's looking pretty bad, honestly. These hanging pawns are coming to life. I'm always accusing him of being Romanian. You're hanging e5. Wow. We wasted a lot of time. The biggest dispute I got over foot kicking was this last round money game against a 2200 player. We were playing for like a class prize or something, which was sizable. I don't know, $1,000 probably was at stake. And this was the guy who, you know, put his feet under my chair and accused me of kicking him. But he had like Doc Marten boots on, and his feet were under my chair, you know, so it was a pretty weird situation. I think rook takes g3, knight takes c5. Okay. Havgar, I think you were better. Strangely, this happened in a game. Wow, there's suddenly games here. That's weird. Iescas versus Darko Anic. West Arena versus Murray Chandler. Good old Tampa Janos. It's a GF Caro. It can't be, though. Yeah, the computer just wants to take the pawn on f6 and laugh at you. But I was concerned about my queen. But I just realized now that, you know, probably my queen has c4. I don't think I saw that at the moment when you sacked the pawn. I was nervous that after pawn takes f6, knight takes f6, queen e2, my queen had no squares, and I'd have to like block with bishop e3. But the truth is, yeah, this pawn should be captured. So I let you off the hook there a little bit. And then after knight h4, you're okay. Yeah, here I have to play some kind of move, like bishop e4, very, very specific move. Bishop e4. It's like a Tarash Queen's Gambit on the other side of the board, where I'm blockading these hanging pawns over here instead of on the C and D files. Bishop e4, bishop g5. Some sort of positional move. Okay, bishop e3. And now you're like better after bishop e7. My whole position is screwed. I should probably just go back to f3 right away. Queen h5 felt like it just made things worse. Queen e2. And I'm not that bad, but black's at least equal here, I think. This was a good move by me. F5 was a mistake. Wow, I missed bishop d4. Hard to find that with no time left. Yeah, so you should just play solid moves. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me today. We'll be back tomorrow with more classical and blitz chess here, 10 a.m. CET. Check out the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube, and I upload all the streams and also independent instructional videos sometimes. So subscribe and like to the YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me here today, guys. We will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. CET. Also, I'd like to thank everyone who's sponsored the stream with donations via PayPal. If you can afford just a small donation once a year, or even twice a year, if you want to go crazy, we really appreciate it. It's helped us to keep the stream going now for over a year. So we really appreciate that. If you can't, just join us, tell your friends about the stream, and you know, support the stream by contributing to our discussions here and our efforts to improve at chess. Thanks again, guys. Thanks to our moderator, Blue Crow, and we'll be back here on lichess and Twitch tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.